Yes, everyone, and welcome to this video on how to start an AI agency as a total beginner. Now, in this video, we're going to be going over the fundamentals, the 4 phases, and a week-by-week playbook. Basically, everything that you need to start your own AI agency as a total beginner and land your first paying client. Now, to give you a bit more context about this is, if you've been trying to start an AI agency or you've been thinking about starting an AI agency and you genuinely have no idea where to start. Now, this video is probably going to be the only video you're going to ever need to watch, right? Because I'm going to be breaking down a completely detailed step-by-step process from start to finish about an AI agency, the sales process, the 4 phases that, an AI successful or most AI agency owners go through, and a week-by-week playbook on basically a guide sort of holding your hand on getting you to your first paying client. So I hope you guys stick to the end of this video. Now, before we sort of get into the phases and the week-by-week playbook, I sort of want to hit on a specific topic about how most creators really skip over this specific part, right? Which is the fundamentals. And the reason why everyone tries to start an AI agency and then immediately fails is because they fail at the beginning. Now, they rush the sort of beginning phase, which is also a pretty boring phase, right? And get straight into building automations, learning so many different tools, and just consuming all of the new trends that are happening, which is by far the worst thing you can do if you're actually trying to make a career out of using or leveraging AI tools to sort of build a business, right? So we are going to do this properly. So take out your notebook, your iPad, whatever you use, and start taking notes. But again, this entire document is going to be available. The link is going to be in the description. It's free to download. It's for you guys, so you guys can sort of reference and come back into this whenever you guys want. Now, what an AI agency actually is. You guys probably know this, but I'm going to repeat it again for those who don't or who are confused. Is an AI agency is a business, right, that helps businesses with specific problems or finding solutions using AI. You, as an AI agency owner or an AI agency, does not sell AI, right? Again, you are selling outcomes. Now, a business owner will approach you not because they care about the tools or the workflow or whatever trend is happening. They care about one thing, which is how can you help them solve a specific problem, which comes down to 2 roots mainly, which is money and time. Okay. Now, the single biggest mindset shift that you can have, right, is, again, you are not an AI expert and you don't even need to be an AI expert. Okay. You are a business problem solver who happens to use AI. Okay, and once you understand that there is a big difference between that, right, you will sort of approach the way you speak to your prospects or have communications with them or even selling to them is going to be totally different. Now, the 3 things that you actually need to start, right? And again, please forget about the tools or multiple videos or the courses or having so many different tabs open. You just need 3 simple things to start, right? And 3 core skills specifically, which is understanding, building, and selling. Okay, now understanding is knowing one industry deeply enough to spot a specific problem. 2 is building. So building a simple workflow using 1 or 2 tools maximum, right, that solve these specific problems. And 3 is having real conversations, running real demos, and then showing how these problems get solved through your solution that you've built or your agent or your automation, right? So again, just make sure that you understand one industry well enough, building the right systems and then speaking to them. And well, when you sell it to them, you just have to make sure that they see it in action. But I'm going to explain why in a second. Now, the 5 mistakes before we jump into the phases that are killing a lot of beginners before they even can get to phase 1, okay, is you are already ahead of most people that you are competing with, right? If you just avoid these 5 mistakes. Now, mistake 1 is chasing every single tool, right? I said this in the beginning. I'm going to say it a lot throughout the entire video, so please be patient, all right? The reason why it kills you is, listen, new tools or basically, yeah, there's new tools that just keep dropping every single day, every single week, every single month. So it's impossible for you to keep up, right? The only way you can keep up is if that's all you want to do, is just understand or see what's trending, right? And chasing every one of these new tools or trying to use every one of these new tools is the fastest way to build absolutely nothing, all right? So please, I recommend picking 2 to 3 tools at max in the beginning and just stick to those. Because in all honesty, 10 tools are fundamentally practically the same. They just look different, or the interface is different, or the way you build is different, right? But it does the same job. So pick one that you are comfortable with, that you find easy to understand, and just stick with it, okay? Now, mistake 2 is trying to serve everyone, okay? Now, you might get a bit of a mixed, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a mixed solution that, go broad because you're new, so you need to understand. Some people are going to say go niche. Now, I've been running an AI agency for 2 years, okay? And I started broad, and it didn't really work out that well, okay? And the reason why I say AI for businesses is not a niche, okay? Is when you try to serve everyone, you just don't get good at serving or solving a specific problem. And what happens then is you're going to try and build so many different solutions, or try and build so many different solutions for a market that, listen, you can't know everything. It's impossible to learn everything about every single industry, market, business. So just don't do that. All right, so please pick one industry and stay in it long enough to become the obvious choice. Right, I say, and I recommend this to a lot of my students and to the people who are in my community as well, is 90 days is a golden mark. Right, it should be your golden benchmark in order to understand if this is what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. Okay, now the third mistake is building before selling. Right, please don't spend months building something no one even asked for. Okay, you have at this point probably not done any research, so you can't be confidently building something thinking you're going to sell it and make money. If anyone else is trying to tell you otherwise, I ain't gonna say anything, and I ain't gonna name any names, right? But it is what it is. So you need to sell the outcome first, and then you build the rough version. Because let's say you try to build, let's say you're selling an outcome, right? And a business owner is going to be like, that's really not an outcome because we don't really even give a shit about it. Okay, you're going to be like, oh, but I've already built it, so what are you going to do now, right? So please just avoid that mistake. Now the fourth one is pitching AI and not outcomes. Okay, I see a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people tell me that, I've been reaching out to this person and I've been pitching my services, blah 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 blah. I don't blame you. Everyone does it. It's a sort of default that we assume is the right way to do it, right? It isn't. Because the moment you say, AI in the first sentence, you sort of lose, okay? Because you need to lead with what you noticed about your business first, all right? Because again, you need to understand that business owners are getting pitched by thousands of different people almost every single day saying that I can build you an automation, or I build these AI solutions and blah, 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 blah. You need to you need to come in with a unique perspective of, hey man, like as an example, right? I was on your website and I noticed that, your booking system is pretty slow, it's not really working, and I didn't really even receive an email in time when I booked it. Is this a problem that you guys are aware of? If not, let me know, we can have a conversation. Or you just wait for them to reply, and if they're like, yeah, we're kind of working on it, then you can be like, you know what, it's your lucky day because I've already built a solution for you on this, right? And you probably haven't even built it yet. Okay, so you are talking, again, you want to make sure that you are confident in what you say. If it's a problem, I've already built it, let me send you a quick Loom video. Again, I'm going to get into all of this in later on in the video. And then the fifth and final mistake is quitting after 30 days. I promise you, right? I promise you, in whatever you do in life, even if it's not AI agencies, nothing meaningful will ever happen in 30 days if you are just starting out with anything, okay? You need at least 90 days, like I mentioned before, in one specific niche before you can even tell if there is if there's going to be any possible success in it, or if it's even working, okay? Now, part 2, the 4 phases. Now, you need to understand the map before you can even start walking, all right? And the 4 phases I'm going to be describing here is what I have gone through, what a lot of successful AI agency owners have gone through, and have made real significant money in AI, selling AI services as an AI agency. Have gone through these 4 phases, right? And roughly in the same order. Now, if you skip any one of these, again, it's technically possible, but almost every beginner who tries to skip a phase ends up circling back to fix it later. So in my humble advice, please don't skip it. Just go through them in order. You're just going to save yourself a lot of months, all right? So please, let's do it properly together in the right order, and just one time, right? Now, the first phase is understanding the market, right? Not the tools, not the tech, the actual business who wants to serve, that you want to serve. The second phase is picking your niche and building a proper offer around it. The third phase is positioning yourself so you become the obvious person the market comes to when that specific problem happens, again, in that niche, right? And the fourth phase is building the machine, meaning the system that scales beyond just you, right? Now, I sort of want to dive a little deeper into this one specifically, just give me about 30 seconds, is we always build systems for other businesses to scale, to improve, to do better, to save time, to make more money. But a lot of people forget that they need to build the same systems in order to do the same thing themselves, right? So it's important to understand that when you build systems, you need to always think about you and your business, because you don't want to be the bottleneck in your own business, right? So again, to repeat it, 4 phases. So the market, understanding the market, niche plus offer, so picking the niche and packaging, positioning, become the obvious person, and then 4 is the machine, so the systems that scale your business. Let's get into it. Now, phase 1 is understanding the market. Now, a thing that's worked for me and that's helped me scale to 6-figure months and I've been doing this for about 2 years now, is talk to real people before you even build anything, okay? Now, a lot of beginners do this backwards, and I don't understand why they still do it, right? Maybe it's the lack of information online, but I hope this sort of clears everything for you. They spend sort of months building something clever and then go hunting for sort of someone to sell it to. And it's always the case. It's like a cat and mouse scenario, which I still don't understand. Is they know it doesn't work and they keep doing it. But anyways, you need to do it the other way around. Pick a market, okay? Talk to at least 10 people in that industry. It could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be a colleague, it could be someone you know on LinkedIn, Instagram. It doesn't matter. As long as you get a chance to talk to 10 people, that is the bare minimum, all right? And let the problem tell you what to build. When you start having conversations with these people, right, you will understand by these conversations exactly what problems that specific market or that niche is facing. And 9 out of 10 times, if you've spoken to, let's say, even 10 people, right, from the same company, the chances of it happening in other companies is always going to be the same, all right? So I call this the 2-week market check, right? So when you pick your market, write the problem in one sentence so specific a stranger could repeat it. Talk to 10 people who have it and how they handle it now and what it cost them. And I promise you, right, 2 weeks of doing this is going to sort of teach you more than you sitting down behind a computer and trying to build something ever will. I promise you. All right. So the 5 questions to ask every business owner when you start having these conversations is, the first one is, what does your typical week actually look like? What part of your business breaks when, things get busy? What are you doing manually right now that sort of eats up a lot of time? And if you could sort of, rub a magic lamp or wave a wand and fix one thing, what would it be? And how much money do you estimate you are losing on a specific problem every week, month, year, day, hour? Again, you can always customize it, right? Now I've given you guys a free prompt that you can sort of paste straight into Claude to help you out with market research, right? So you can just copy paste it. Again, 2 weeks of these conversations teaches you more than a market of 3 months of just watching YouTube videos, Instagram videos, TikToks. Again, please don't be a consumer. All right, stop saving videos and take action. All right. It also gives you the exact language to use in your sales calls. It builds your sort of language in your brain. So when you're speaking to these people, you understand, okay, this is what they like to hear. This is how they speak. This is how they're telling me. So I'm going to use that to speak to the actual business owners. Remember, because you are just repeating what your future customer already told you, right? Do this properly, and phase 2 is going to become a lot easier. Now, phase 2, which is pick the niche and build the offer, right? You need to get uncomfortably specific in phase 2, specifically when it comes to picking your niche and your offer. Now, the mistake here is a lot of people go too broad. Again, like I've mentioned before, is an AI for everything. Just never works. Again, AI for services is not a niche, right? What is a niche is AI automations for independent mortgage brokers, right? You see the difference there? That is a specific niche. Now, the narrower you go, the more you can charge and the easier you are to find. And that's when you can charge these premium prices and these higher prices, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, right? Because again, you are positioning yourself as someone who is an expert in that specific niche. Now, the offer formula here is every offer that closes deals cleanly follows the same simple formula, okay? Miss any part of it and the offer gets fuzzy, and again, fuzzy offers do not close. So the offer formula is simple, right? We help niche achieve outcome through mechanism, where 3 specific deliverables. If you cannot say your offer in one sentence following this specific format, you do not have a proper offer yet. You have a description, and I'm sorry, it just won't work, right? So an example offer here is, we help home service businesses recover lost revenue through an AI lead capture system where we answer every call, every missed call, qualify the lead instantly, and book the appointment into your calendar within 60 seconds. Do you see and hear the difference just now? I hope you do, right? Because it's a massive difference. Instead of saying, hi, we help home services businesses by doing AI services, blah, 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 blah. No one's gonna buy that, okay? Again, I've put in a prompt. You can just copy paste it. Obviously, please fill in the blanks here. This is to help you sharpen your offer, make it a bit more specific, and give you guys a bit more understanding on any offer that you might want to do, right, in a niche. Again, so please take your niche, take the problem you found in phase one, and rewrite it as a proper offer. Then read it out loud. If it sounds like something every other AI agency could say, or if you've heard it 1,000 times online before, just go back to the drawing board. Simple as it is. Now, phase 3 is positioning. In my opinion, this is probably the most important part of this entire document, which is positioning, because you can have the best offer in the best industry, but if your positioning is wrong, no one is ever going to buy from you, right? So you need to become the obvious person that they turn to when they need a solution, right? Now, positioning is what happens when you stay in one niche long enough. That's why I say 90 days at least, that the market starts pulling you in instead of you chasing it, okay? So it is a phase that decides your income, because a specialist with proof is never a cheap option, and you don't ever need to be a cheap option, okay? Now, the 4 positioning levers here is, number 1 is you stay in a niche for at least 6 to 12 months, all right? 2 is case studies, 2 or 3 real case studies within that market. 3 is personal brands, so content that only caters to that specific niche. And 4 is raise prices, which reflects the position that you've built over the past 6-7 months. Now, a clear sort of factor on how you know positioning is working is when prospects start describing your service back to you the way you describe it. Okay. Now, if a business owner says to you, you are the guy that does X, X for Y without you prompting them, sort of, you are winning, right? Because if business owners understand what your offer is or what your solutions are clearly, you don't really need to sell it to them. It just becomes so much easier, right? But if they still describe you as some AI guy, that sort of describes it. You don't have a single positioning yet. You have a job title. You're kind of known as a freelancer at this point, right? Now, again, as I mentioned, there are 4 things that builds the positioning. You need to stay in the same 6 months, etc., etc. Now, the next phase, which is phase 4, is building the machine, right? Now, like I spoke about this a little earlier, is when you build the system correctly for yourself, scaling is just going to be indefinitely easier, right? You can't call yourself someone that scales other businesses or helps other businesses with solutions if you can't help your own. It's as simple as that, right? And again, sort of a bonus tip here, the best way to see if you know what you're doing is to just use it in your own business, right? If whatever automation you're trying to build, you can just try it out in your business first, because again, there's no harm done there. Now, you need to systemize what already works. Again, up until this point, you've been trading your time for money, right? Phase 4 is where you build the systems and let the agency run without you being in it every single conversation, every single build, etc. And this is what turns aka what you would be a busy freelancer, into a real business, and you being a business owner, and then avoiding sort of not allowing you to be the bottleneck in that business. Now, the 4 systems every AI agency needs, right? System 1 is client acquisition. Okay, so what it does is repeatable outreach, content, and referrals, bringing you 3 to 5 sales calls a week without you even thinking about it. Number 2 is sales, so standard delivery processes, proposal templates, and pricing that closes deals in under 14 days. 3 is delivery, so written SOPs for every service, so a builder or a new team member can deliver without asking you. And then 4 is retention, so monthly check-ins, reportings, upsells that turn 6 months clients into a 3-year one. Okay, now once those 4 systems are running, the agency stops depending on you, all right, being in every single conversation or in every single process. And this is when you can genuinely scale. Please, I promise you, this is the only time you can genuinely scale. And then you take the same playbook you just ran in one niche, and then you can run it in an adjacent niche, right? Not from zero, because you already have a proven system, right? You're just copying what already works. So if, let's say, you're doing it for mortgage brokers, an adjacent one would be real estate companies, right? Or real estate agents, just as an example. So those are the 4 phases. Now, part 3 and the final part, which is your week by week playbook. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you guys, and I would appreciate if you guys can just leave a like, comment, and just make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be posting videos like this as frequently as I possibly can. Ideally 1 to 2 a week going on, right? So your first 30 days. Now, the 4 phases are the map. Right now, what I'm going to be explaining to you is the walk. Now, if you follow this week by week and actually do the work in between, and honestly, it's hard work. It's never easy. You will land your first paying AI client inside 30 days, I promise you. If you skip or half do them, you will not, and then there is just nothing more to that, right? I'm giving you whatever I can give you, and then the rest is up to you to actually go and take action. Now, your 30-day path is going to look like this. Week 1 is picking a niche and problem. Week 2 is building the rough demo. Week 3 is sending at least 100 proposals, messages. Again, this is after you speak to your 10. We're going to get into it anyways. And week 4 is run sales calls and then close. Yay. All right. Now, week 1 is the foundation. So pick your niche and problem. Now, this is not a week you need to worry about tools, anything technical, any of those things. Okay. This week is to make 2 critical decisions and stick with them till the very end. The industry you are going to serve and the specific problem you are going to solve for them. Please don't overthink this. Just start, take action, and then you'll understand it better later. You can adjust after week 4 if needed, but jumping in 2 weeks is going to set you back to 0, right? So this is a little checklist that I've made for you guys. Again, when you guys download this document, you can sort of just tick it off whenever you complete it. So pick your niche, 1 industry, and something you understand or can access. Like I've mentioned before, a friend, a colleague, people on LinkedIn, etc. Now write the problem in 1 sentence so specific a stranger could repeat it. This is by speaking to the people. Then reach out to 5 people in that industry, right? Whatever channel that you are comfortable with or they are most active in. Again, that comes down to your research. And have 5 real conversations. Again, no pitches, just conversations. I say 5 here. You can start with 5 if you are just fully new, but 10 I would say is the minimum. And write down the exact language they use to describe them. Now you can use tools like Fathom or Whisperflow, etc. to record these calls that you're having, so you don't have to write it down. And then sort of create like a document on how they speak, and then you can start understanding it, right? So again, how to pick your niche in 30 minutes approx. So you could use the industry you worked in, the industry a close family or a family member in a business, the industry you have watched up close for years, maybe you've worked in. Pick the one with the least friction, you already understand it, and you have access to the 5 people you need to talk to. 10, 10, 10. Now, week 2 is build the rough demo and record the loom. All right, so this is where you build the smallest working version of the solution you designed in week 1 or week 2, right? Again, rough. It does not have to be perfect, right? Nothing polished. It does not need to look pretty because you are not giving it to anyone at this point. You're not implementing it into any system at this point. Just something that runs end to end so you have something to show. And then you record a loom walking through what it does, how it does it, and how it solves problem A and gives a solution, okay? And that loom sort of becomes your most valuable asset for the entire month of when you start doing your outreach, speaking to people, etc. Right? So in week 2, this is what you do. Pick your tool stack. Okay, this is where you can finally pick your tool stack. It could be, I've just given some examples here, but you can always change this around based on what your solution is. But Zapier Retail plus Anyten plus Cal.com is a common tech stack. And the reason why is Retail is a voice agent, Anyten is a workflow builder, Cal.com is basically a booking system. So super simple, right? You can build a rough working version of the solution, right? It could be something really quick. Maybe a lead comes in, fills out a form, and then email gets sent. Again, that's the most basic example, but always make sure it's custom to whatever you're trying to show, okay? Test it 10 times, okay? Make sure the happy path works end to end. And what I mean by the happy path is that everything works when you do it 10 times, 10 different ways, and nothing breaks, okay? Record a 2 to 3 minute video, a Loom video. If you don't know what Loom is basically a screen recording where you can record yourself and the screen and then just show them how it works while explaining to them. It's really cool, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know what Loom is anyways, but explain it in as simple English as possible. Now, again, this depends on what market you're in, whatever language you're in. Just make sure it's extremely simple to understand for the person you're sending it to. And please do not talk the tech, all right? Talk about what goes in and what comes out. Maybe I should have said it that way, but what as in how the solution works and how you receive the outcome, or the problem going through your automations and then the solution coming out of it, all right? However you guys want to understand it. So the starter tool stack, and this is again a common beginner one. Please do your own research. This is just an example. Zapier and Retail, which is a voice agent layer, Anyten or Make, which is a workflow and the glue, the connectors. Cal.com is a booking one, and Claude is the brain, right? Again, you can use ChatGPT. However, I recommend Claude. Now, week 3 is your outreach. So this is where you do at least 30 personal messages, right? Now, this is outreach week. Now, you are actually getting your hands a bit dirty, right? You are not, I repeat, you are not sending mass emails. You are not blasting DMs. You are finding 30 real businesses in the specific niche that you chose and looking at each one properly and understanding them. By week 3, you should have an understanding of how it works, and sending each one a personal message that leads with what you noticed about their business, not with what you sell, all right? Like I've said, you don't go in and you pitch, you just go in with the solution, or you go in with a problem that you've noticed that the business is facing, and then you can sort of have a conversation from there. Again, don't throw everything in the front. They're going to read it and they're not going to respond. 9 out of 10 times, they're just not going to respond, right? So week 3, I've also put in a prompt, but week 3, find 30 businesses in your niche. For each one, spend a few minutes on their site, reviews, socials, whatever it is that you're trying to understand. Find something specific about their setup that is clearly broken or not working, or that could save them money, make them money or time. Send a personal message, lead with what you noticed, not with your service. And when they reply, send the loom. You're welcome. Now, I've also put in a prompt here. So it's a personal call message generator, which you can use in Claude. Again, don't just copy paste it and click enter. Just make sure you enter all of this stuff here. Industry, blah, blah, blah. And then just use it from there. Now, week 4, the final week, is you are about to close your first paying client. I'm so excited for you. If possible, please come back to the same video and just leave a comment if you guys did close. It would just make sure that I'm on the right path of giving you guys as much information as I can to help you guys make money as a beginner with AI. So week 4 is sales calls and close the first client. Now, this week you are on calls, again, not pitching, you are diagnosing, okay? You are a doctor at this point. You're welcome. You ask the right questions, you quantify the leak, you sell the outcome, and offer to fix it for a price the business owners can just, they just won't be able to say no, okay? And then you lock in the deposit and then you start the build. So this week, take the sales calls booked from the week 3 outreach, diagnose, ask about their week, the leaks, their goals, etc. Quantify the leak, maybe make them say the dollar figure out loud. See, a little bonus tip here again is when you are speaking to these owners, you need to sort of get them to tell you the problems they are facing out loud, because then they're convincing themselves that, oh, you know what, this is a problem I'm actually facing. It's going to make it easier for you to close, right? Now present the offer between 500 to 1,500, depending on the business size, how What the solution is, again, at the beginning you might close closer, smaller deals, but you're building yourself up again to get the case studies to then become the specialist and start charging the higher 4-5 figures, etc. Send the payment link on call. Please do not send it as an invoice by email. You can always send a paid invoice after, because remember, it's sales 101. As soon as the call's ended, the excitement's gone, the emotion is gone. So just make sure you try and close it on the call itself. Lock in the deposit, book the start date, discuss the technicalities, the contracts, etc. Blah blah blah, everything of that. If you guys need help with that, I'll try and make a video on that as well. Just let me know in the comments. So again, to sum it up, find the pain, press deeper, sell the desired state, give the price, and then just shut up. Just keep quiet. If they have doubts, go back to step 2 and press on the pain again. Okay, and then you can rinse and repeat, same niche, same offer, same demo. And this is where your positioning starts to build, because now you are not a stranger with a loom, you are someone with a delivered case and real proof here. And I hope by this week you guys have had your first paying client. Now, part 4, again, this is just some reference material for you guys to use. Everything that you need in one place. So the rest of this doc is the reference stuff you will keep coming back to. So tools, prompts, and sales scripts, a niche, picker, pricing, delivery notes. Keep it near you as you work through your 30 days. This is going to be your best friend, your lover, until you get your first paying client, right? So again, the tool stack over here: Claude, Anytime, Make, Vapi, Read. This can change, by the way, but again, Instantly, Loom, Notion, Stripe, Fathom, etc., etc. Instantly doesn't have a free tier. You can use another one, or again, manually, you can just start manually sending it from your email. This is a full prompt library, so pre-call prospects, proposals after discovery call, objection handler, niche ideas that actually work. So if you have no idea where to start, I'm sort of ranked it a short list based on what's trending at the moment, or niches worth going after right now. So pick from one and commit. So you got home services, so HVAC, plumbing, roofing. The reason why it works is it's high ticket, real pain, easy to solve, and easy to prove ROI. Then you've got car detailing, which is S tier, landscaping S tier, auto dealerships A tier, electricians A tier, pest control, dog groomers, dentals. I'm going to leave it for you guys to read this just to avoid boring you guys a little more. Pricing and delivery notes. So all right, so I'm just going to speak about this for a second. So pricing for your first 3 clients. See, for your first 3 clients, like I mentioned before, pricing is not about maximizing the profit. It's about lowering the barrier to say yes and start building proof. You will eventually charge high money, a lot of money, right? The rough range is between $500 to $1,500 upfront, plus a small retainer of about $200 to $500 again for ongoing support. Now, once you've had 3 delivered case studies, double the setup fee and add another tier, and that can do $1,500 to $3,000 a month for higher touch clients. So client 1 again could be 500. Again, your goal is to prove that the model works. Client 2 could be 1,000. Basically, you're finding the delivery. 3 is lock in the case study, and then 4 is when you can actually start charging proper market prices, and you're never going to get a no, because now you are the expert, right? So clean delivery in 5 steps is client accounts built on their email. All right, 2. Whoa, sorry, this is very, very important, guys. Focus. Sorry, 1 second. So delivery is also one of the most important parts about any part of this entire process, right? Because if you can build something great, which is amazing, but if you fail to deliver it correctly, you're just not going to keep them long term, and they're probably not going to work with you. So number 1 is client accounts, so build on their email. 2, test 20 times. So try and break the system. Try and absolutely destroy the system to make sure you can fix it and make sure it is perfect. Step 3 is Loom walkthroughs, record how to use it. 4 is 30-day support, so stay close during these 30 days. 5 is document outcome, so real numbers, right? Now, the delivery mindset that you need to have here, okay, is every delivery is either a case study waiting to happen or a churn risk waiting to happen. And churn means a client willing to not pay you anymore. Which one it becomes is decided in the first 30 days after the handover. So make sure that you provide the best support, over communicate, and document everything, and you are definitely going to win. Cool, right? We have come to the end, guys. Firstly, whoever stayed this long, I appreciate every single one of you. My goal here is just to make sure that I provide what people charge for absolutely free, right? So that is the full path, right? The fundamentals, the 4 phases, the week-by-week playbook to go from complete beginner to your first paying AI client. And look, I'm not going to pretend that this is easy or it's a piece of cake or a walk in the park. It is not. It is a lot of hours. It's hard work, and that's why you see there's a lot of differences between people who are successful and who aren't. Okay, it's just putting in the time, right? But it is genuinely simple, and simple is what most people cannot handle, because simple means you have nowhere to hide. Okay, so please, again, pick the niche, do the conversations, build the rough thing, send the messages, take the calls, and that's it. There is no secret extra step. There is no secret to this game, and making money is just about repeating it and doing it and putting in the hours and finding what works, and then just honing in on that. Now, if you actually run this for 30 days, 90 days, and continue running it for the next 6 to 12 months, you will be way past 10, 20 clients paying you a good, 5 figures at least, and you will reach your 6-figure months before you even know it, right? It is a matter of when in the month it lands. So close the browsing tabs, close all the tools that you're going to learn, stop saving more videos, and just come back to this document and start from week 1. Now, if you guys want to work with me, if you want my personal help, you can just head over to my Instagram and DM me the work ready. I do offer one-to-one mentorships or coaching, whatever you guys like to call it. If you guys need help, if you still don't understand, just give me a message and then we can discuss how I can help you, and then we can go from there. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, love, take action, and I'm rooting for you guys. You guys can do this. I believe in each and every single one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.